Alright guys, welcome back to Actually Anything. It's the podcast that's actually about anything. And today I have 3 guests again, just like the last episode. And Peter is back. We're in his room again. And his friends Josh and Paul are here today too. We have a lot of shit to talk about because since the last show I did, felt like a lot of stuff's been going down, you know? Things we're not really too happy with, so that's why we're going to vent to you guys today. And let's see. You know, Peter, take it off.
So quick question: when was the last time we were on? Like, when was
that was
our
like
podcast?
last month, I think.
It was last month.
At least.
A lot of things happened since then.
A lot of things happened since then. So, well, if people don't know, if they live outside New York or they live under a rock, New York City is now enforcing mandates to where now pretty much all of us are banned from anywhere. I just find it okay because I don't know if you guys know Michael Malice, but Michael Malice is he didn't come up with the quote, but he's always quoting he's always saying this quote, people today don't want to be free, they want to be controlled. Basically, how many people you think, let's just say out of 10, actually genuinely care about their rights or at least freedoms?
I would say, when you mean care, do you know, like as actively as in, you know, they're really, you know, up to date with, you know, keeping the status quo of, you know, their rights being intact on, you know. I don't think people understand what their rights are, to be honest.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, do you think people... I feel like when saying do people know and understand their rights, I guess it's having this intellectual grasp that you have to be aware if at any chance surrendering these rights or freedoms or having them be taken away under the guise of security or it's in the best interest of public health actually has damaging long-term effects because you're, in a sense, encroaching your society more and more towards a dictatorship.
You know, if you were to ask anyone at any given moment if they care about their rights, I think most people would say yes. But in the, you know, when it comes to specific stipulations in the Constitution, like even if you were to talk about things such as the Second Amendment, which even though it comes second in the Constitution, people question if that should even be there in the first place. So I think people care about their rights, but everyone, it's a tough thing because everyone only respects certain rights. They don't respect all of the rights that have been put in the Constitution.
Good point.
Oh, because it's very interesting when you hear, because correct, I never ask people, but I guess now it's at a point where this is extremely political, where it kind of actually matters. All of us here, I'm assuming, are not vaccinated, and I'm assuming all of us are not going to get the vaccine. I guess, is that a fair assessment to say?
I have no plans.
And they must know at this point that there are people out there that are just not going to get it. No matter how much you bribe us, no matter how much you take away, I think they know, like, people are very hard about...
Hard line, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like,
it's coming as strong as, you know, it's kind of becoming like a abortion, you know.
Right, so, like, is it gonna get to a point where it's like, alright, well, now we're gonna... You think we're telling you to do shit before, like, now we're really gonna force you. Like, are we gonna get... Is it gonna come to a point where, like, you could get arrested if you don't get vaccinated? Like, I mean,
honestly, that's what's happening in Austria.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, we did want to talk about Austria and...
Yeah, they're saying that by, you know, February in 2022, I don't know why that particular date, by the way, right? February 2022, they're gonna start levying fines and, you know, punitive
that's
things.
the end of the winter too. You would think like by then, like that's when people start to get a little better, with the sicknesses and stuff.
Yeah, so that's why. So it's like they gave them that limit.
God,
you know.
Bless him.
I just then now. There's one. I feel like we're at a point where it's a very mundane argument where we're at now, where people say I don't want it. It's either you want to get the vaccine, you don't want to get the vaccine. You're anti-mandates or you're pro the mandates, and I feel like that's such lower on the scale comparing to what is actually happening. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How we have to be more aware about how we're pushing towards a social credit system, or be more aware about the fact that the FBI or the Department of Justice is now like raiding media outlets like Project Veritas, raiding their houses in the middle of the night and getting their information towards their sources. Or how about the fact that now how the party switched? And when would you guys say it did?
Well, it never did. What the powers that be do is, the whole divide and conquer is the oldest strategy in the book, and it never fails, right? Because for example, you have let's bring a big example. Let's bring up Fox News, right?
Okay.
A lot of conservatives, true conservatives would say that, they're rhinos. What that term, that Republican.
They're saying that about Nicole Melly.
Republican in name only, right? They're only going to be like, oh, Republican, we support, gun rights, pro-life and stuff like that. But no, they only do it to, until they need, they only say those things until they get your vote, and then
right. So they're in that position of power.
Yeah, because it's like you know what I say. It's a house of cards. They keep each other standing up. So that's why when I see people saying, oh, vote for this guy, he's different. Vote for this lady, she's different. It's like. The whole thing has to be revamped. You have to.
Right.
The system has to be revamped because it's never going to change because everyone's always going to be polarized.
Well, we're going to get a new mayor soon. This guy Adams, and a lot of people were not crazy about him in the first place because
he's a cop.
Well, right, that, and he was endorsed by our previous current mayor, De Blasio, and they're basically friends. And we all know how terrible De Blasio is. So it's weird that people would still want to vote. Look, I'm not. You could vote
everybody hates
red
him.
or blue, but
everybody
you would think
hates
like
Blasio.
Right. So it's like, but some people kind of just vote.
Will
always vote their party just because it's that
tradition.
Party.
Yeah,
right. They don't want to.
I vote Democrat. I'm gonna vote Democrat.
Right, and I just thought like a lot of New Yorkers were in agreement that like the guy we have now sucks. So it's like, why do you want like someone that's like friends with him?
And also
a B plus. You give him a B plus rating.
And also because Sliwa was not much of a better candidate, so it was kind of like Republicans did it to themselves.
I guess, but I like Sliwa. I think he's a cool guy. I don't know, and he was always like around. He had the Guardian Angels and stuff. But
yeah, that doesn't. I mean, he might be a cool guy, likable guy, but honestly, that doesn't make a good mayor.
Yeah, true. Like maybe he's not fit to run a whole city, but
yeah.
I don't think we're probably
rocking a hard place.
He's still gonna, yeah, true. We haven't seen the last of him though, which I think I would like to see.
But he's in what?
Isn't he like in his 70s or something, late 70s?
Maybe.
Yeah. Stop with the old leaders. Let's get some young blood.
I like him too because he's very into animal rights and stuff. He has like 10, 12 cats, like Sliwa. But that's great. Hey man, like power to the animals,
But the one thing I look at it as. Adams wasn't anybody's choice. He was the corporate choice. If we're just being honest,
he was safe.
Because what agenda? Because at the end of the day, what agenda was he going to be pushing? At the end of the day, he's still going to be supporting. He's still going to push the mandates. Well,
and he's going to push more punitive. Like he's going to push for more people getting locked up because he's a cop.
I said it since day one. I'm always now. I don't want to be very cavalier saying this, but Paul can testify to this. Oh, because me and Paul do our own. We have a little like conspiracy theory like Instagram that we've made in where I just go on like crazy tangents. But during
I should follow it.
No, it's brutal. But anyway,
I love that. I mean, like, come on.
No, it's brutal. But there's one specific thing I said. I think it was very early on in the lockdowns, and I made the point where how it's going to be very interesting if a person gets killed by the police,
right?
And there's protest over it. What's going to happen then? Is there going to be a situation where the government and the police are going to step in and say no, even though we understand that there was an unjust killing and someone was murdered by the police, but at the end of the day, public health is still too important for you to go out. There's still a disease that's spreading. We're in the middle of a pandemic. The hospitals are overflowing.
Right.
But then what happened? George Floyd got murdered, and then everyone protested. I went to the protests. A lot of people did. But the one thing that bothers me here's one thing. Not every George Floyd protest was peaceful, but every George Floyd protest wasn't a riot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
Because there
right.
was a bunch of protests. But now, I was there in the city when the night they destroyed Soho. That night when they went into like Gucci and all the stores, or I think Apple, and they broke the windows. I was there. I left 5 minutes before that happened. So at that point, the protest was over. So is it fair to say? I'm just asking. Would it be fair to say at this point that it was already after the protest was over, and then like 10, 15, 20 minutes later, it became a riot?
Right. I feel like those people are not the same. Are not the same people who were there like in the beginning. You know, I feel like once like the trouble starts, I think that's people that just showed up.
Just to, fuck shit up. And
Possibly.
yeah, there are provocateurs in every one of these things because
Cops, feds.
Yeah, right. Yeah, feds.
Yo, what about that shit where weren't they like leaving bricks? And
Yeah.
places? I saw a whole thing. It was like a whole thing of them. Like you would like
Yeah,
as
the
if
whole
they were
pallet,
gonna pave like a
whole
fucking
pallet,
someone's
yeah.
backyard.
A whole
Like,
pallet of bricks, yeah.
what the
yeah.
hell's that?
And that's the thing, like, you would say, they always say, oh, it's building material. First of all, contractors would never just leave their material out there because it's expensive. Bricks are how much, it's like $1.30 per brick or something, depending on what you get. So it's very expensive. That could be like $2,000 worth of bricks,
Right.
So it's like, it just seems a little bit
What about you, Paul?
bit fishy. I mean, that's an out there theory, but, you got to question shit like that.
Going back a bit when it comes to the vaccine, I was thinking about a public service announcement that was on television. I saw this recently. Perhaps if any of you still watch TV, you've seen it too. I know you watch TV.
Unfortunately.
But
Yeah.
it's a television commercial where it's like teenagers and they're explaining the reasons they don't want to get the vaccine.
I heard that on the radio on the car.
Yeah, there's some conspiracy cliches that they say, right? Like one of them says it's going to turn into a zombie. Another one says that something else. I don't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, I do. I was driving one time, and what do you call it? It was turning. It was like 8 a.m. right, and the ad starts with a person breathing heavily, like fucking scary as shit. You got the heartbeat, boom, 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 boom. I'm driving. What the fuck? Like, this is alarming, right? So, and it was like, mom. Tell my friends. And mind you, this is supposed to be the kid's last words or some shit like that, right? It's like, tell my friends, get the vaccine.
Oh, it's like a radio ad.
It's a radio
yeah,
ad.
I've heard that too. I'm driving. I'm like,
right?
gee,
And I'm
what?
like, first of all, like that kid's like 13. He's not, and that's what they're trying to like. When it gets to the point of what you're doing, like scare tactics like that,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And
That pissed me off, actually. I was like, I wanted to turn around and drive home and just.
What's crazy about it is, right? It's targeting like the teenage, the preteen, like high school kids who aren't even being driven into school in the morning time. So that ad is done to scare the moms, and the moms
Right.
will do everything and anything.
I hate to say it, back in the day too, I probably would have heard something like that and be like, oh shit, maybe I should just get it, because I didn't think as clearly as I do now.
Now your brain is fully developed.
What you gonna say, Pete?
No, but not even that are they being targeted to an audience that, how you said that mom doesn't drive them to school, but they're targeting an audience that statistically is
not gonna die.
It's not gonna die from COVID.
I think they're in better shape than we are. Like, I think they're less likely to get it than us.
Yeah, if you have a healthy immune system, which kids do, then you'll be all right.
No, yeah, but also with how it's like, for example, they I think the FDA approved Pfizer and Moderna for people under now
5 to 11 or some shit like that. Yeah.
But then you have what's happened. But then you have in Europe and a bunch of Scandinavian countries, they banned Moderna for people under the ages of 30. Now I know a lot of people who are under 30 years old that got the Moderna shot. A lot of people. So it's just I know a lot of people that got sick that got the vaccine. I don't know about anybody else, but a lot of people I know were sick as dogs.
Yeah, I know a couple people got sick for
2 weeks.
I know
the only people who got really sick were like older people who were already in poor health.
I know
it was never like a young person that got fucking put on his ass or nothing like that.
I know a few people that were young that got put on their ass getting the vaccine.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that are vaccinated but don't agree with the mandates.
At the end of the day, it's all up to you, and that's the only thing that the point of contention for what's going on in the world. Most people wouldn't give a shit if everybody got the vaccine or
right.
the whole point is the compliance, and that's at the end of the day what it's all about.
But how willing are those people? How willing are those people? They don't come to protest.
Yeah.
Because because what is it that prevents them? Because all of us, for the exception of Paul, the three of us have been to protest. Yes, the majority of the people there that are protesting are unvaccinated, and there are like dozens of people who are vaccinated and they against the mandates. But at the end of the day, most people are afraid. It's a combination of ego, because most people don't want to admit when they're wrong, because we're all human, or they got fooled. But think about it. There's all of us can be real. There's been situations where I've been wrong and I was afraid to admit it, or I was too much of a fucking asshole to say hey, you know, my bad, I was wrong.
That hubris.
You know what I mean? Exactly. And besides ego, I feel like it's also naivety. Mm-hmm. You know, people be naive, because it's interesting where I believe there's systematic racism in a sense, but I believe that's just a lower extension to how I think it's mainly a class war.
Right.
And they use like religion, race, sex, everything, just to keep you distracted from the fact that
DNC, divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer, pretty much.
Washington D.C., divide and conquer.
You know, Pete and I, we were just at a protest yesterday, and as much as I love to see everyone there, every time I go to these things, I just feel like, where's everybody else? You know, where's everybody else? And there was a decent amount. There was like maybe a few hundred, which is, you know, like I said, it's great to see, but I always get the impression that I feel like there's more people that aren't happy with this. So, like, where is... It's a Saturday. It was a Saturday, too. It's not, you know, like, even if... I feel like they can't even use the excuse, like, oh, we're working. I mean, some people... Obviously, people work on Saturdays, but usually people
I can give you an answer to that, though.
Tell me.
Like, and, you know, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now, you know? People love their lives too much. You know, they, like, even if it's like the slightest of comforts or whatever, like, you know, let's say it was like just a bath at the end of the week or whatever, they won't give it up, right, to, you know, to fight for something that actually means something, because if they fight for that, they lose that, and then they have to deal with hardships of not having baths, you know. And
now it's cold, so now it's, you know,
now it's cold.
The comfort of, like, not wanting to freeze freeze. You know, look, I'll be honest though, when you're moving and like screaming and yelling, you get warm. Like, I felt like we started walking and I didn't think about the cold anymore, you know what I mean? Like, not as much.
People love their lives so much, and you know, and I get called, you know, a Bible bash or whatever, even though I'm not, you know, I'm not like people say, oh, you pastor, you know, Pastor Kimbrough or whatever. But
now,
like
when we march, we see a lot of people who are for us, like cheering us on, they're recording us, and I wish they would join us, but you know, they're doing their own thing, I understand. But you obviously get people that are pissed at us too.
Oh,
when
yeah.
Peter and I,
yelling from his window,
we were oh yeah, that guy sucked. We were putting stickers everywhere, and some guy, he comes up to, like, he's like by this pole, and he's like ripping like stickers,
them off.
and as this guy's ripping them off, Peter's like putting them back.
I just run, and I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Was he like an older guy?
No, he was
like our age.
He was like 17, 18, and then
he was younger.
The kid,
go get a girlfriend.
The guy who makes the stickers, who I was walking with, he was saying, he was like, "Well, you don't like that sticker?" And then the kid like walked down the street. It was very sad. It was sad.
Yeah, he kind of just walked alone by himself into the abyss of like
nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, there was no one over there. Like,
and to me, that's just sad.
It is.
And that kind of reminded me of what's actually happening. How people's compassion and humanity is being completely manipulated.
Yeah,
they are.
Absolutely.
It's being reversed. It's being, you know, reversed in the sense of to be what do you call it?
That's how true it is.
Yeah, to be what do you call it? Not compassionate towards people who want, you know, who don't want to be, you know, injected with shit. To, you know, you're adversarial to them, where you're like, you know, you're gonna take this because it's helping everybody out.
This one guy had the nerve and the balls to just be like, I hope you all die, and saying so, and his friend's like, oh, stop, they're gonna hear you. And meanwhile, I'm like right there, and they have no idea, like I'm a part of this crowd, basically. And I'm like, oh yeah? Like, why don't you go up there and say that to their face? And he's like, I will do that. And it's like, no, you're not. You're not going to, you would never, because they would
shit.
beat your ass.
You're chatting shit.
And then they went into the store. And it's like, I don't even have to, because they're going to die soon anyway. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, because this thing has been around for like what? Like almost, like practically 2 years now?
Yeah, the first cases
If
were
we're not dead yet, then
November.
I think we're fine. If we're
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just
crazy
I hate
theory.
when people say that.
Everybody's had it at least once.
And they care about lives, but they want you to die if you don't get it. Think about that. Right?
Yeah, crazy
So,
theory.
That's the silly
unbelievable.
thing.
Everyone's had it at least once.
So,
right?
so Paul, what do you think?
Well, I didn't get to finish what I was referring to about that broadcast. So it's about the teenagers explaining why they don't want to get the vaccine, but then it transitions to why they decide to get it. And it's not what you typically hear of, I want to get it to be safe or to stop infecting other people. The reason they say they want to get it is because I want to go to the movies with my friends again. I want to go to the
People
diner.
love their
something
lives
like that.
too much.
And they made this broadcast that really had nothing to do with the efficiency of the vaccine itself. It was more about
The in-crowd
take it
shit.
so that you can go back to your life. And
Peer
that's
pressure.
a thing you hear a lot
Peer
now.
pressure.
Yeah, it's like sad.
Resorting to schoolyard tactics to get fucking kids to take it. That's some shit.
Yo, guys, let's talk about how we have the sign right here. It says "Free Kyrie," and it's his last name's Irving, right? Kyrie
Irving, yeah.
He's if you don't know,
IRVING.
he's a basketball player for the Nets, and he currently cannot play because he's not vaccinated.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, in this city. And
Right.
there's a weird rule with that. I want to do a little bit of sidebar with that, right?
No, wait, I kind of want to hear. What were you just saying? No, because it was just with the story.
So they want to go. So the kids in the commercial, or the teenagers in the commercial, are saying that they want to go back to going to the movies and the diner and things like that. And it had nothing to do with them wanting to be safe or even
Right.
not wanting to infect other people, because in the commercial they portray it as these are kids that don't think the vaccine works, but they should get it and you should get it so that you can get back to your life. And there seems to be this belief in the general population that they might not even think the vaccine works, they might not even think it's that safe, but they think that if they get it, that they can just go back to
Like a normal
life.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be true for a couple different reasons. First off, you look at one of the most vaccinated countries when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine. Israel had very high vaccination rates.
Gibraltar.
They're
118% now.
and they had opened up and they had to close back down. So it really puts in perspective that, even if most people or even everyone gets the vaccine, things are not going to go back to normal.
Yeah, it's definitely not
Right.
about. It's not about efficacy or
And
keep
I
people
think
safe.
it's kind of ridiculous
You gotta see it at this
too.
point, even if you believed in the vaccine
Yeah.
at first. Now you have to see it now.
So these same kids that you're talking about are that are maybe on these commercials saying, "Hey, we should all get vaccinated," blah blah blah. But he's probably that same kid who just got it just because he wants to go see the new fucking Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like Spider-Man: No Way Home is gonna be amazing. I want to go see it too, but
Not at the expense of
it's
It's also not even that. It's also it's sort of in the sense it became tribal.
Yeah.
At the end of it, once anything becomes political, it automatically becomes tribal. So now it's a fad. The one thing I noticed about millennials and the generations that precedes them, it's the fact that there's a lot of fads that we have. You know what I mean? And I noticed that in history that there hasn't really been like the idea of a fad really didn't exist until a certain point in history. But then
when media started coming around.
kind of when media started. No, I think you had kings and queens. The whole thing of the powdered wigs.
Yeah, I mean that's more of a traditional thing because those things a fad is something that goes away. That's a standard at that point.
Yes, 100%. But that initially started off. Well, the reason why people started wearing powdered wigs, but I forgot which French king it was, but he got, I think, syphilis in his head.
Okay.
That's where he
Syphilis in his shit.
That's where you get the
But why
bumps
the
and horrible
big
boils.
white wig?
Because it covers it covers your whole cranium.
Maybe because he had patchy hair or something.
No,
like that.
you get boils. I don't know if syphilis was
patchy
the right
head,
thing. He got something, And it was where,
alopecia probably.
But they really thought that
No,
looked
it's-
good. I mean, like.
yes, but then but then over time the powdered wig basically became a symbol of the upper class.
aristocracy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why judges wear them. You know, they still in this day. You got even the lawyers in England today, right? They wear those stupid ass fucking wigs in the court. They call barristers. They still wear those stupid ass powdered wigs, and they cost you like £2,000.
Oh my Jesus Christ.
It's crazy.
For what? Like
Tradition, you know, certain traditions, you know, just
they never die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to like Kyrie and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is he's a quarterback.
Yes,
Football?
he is. He's a quarterback.
Yeah, so now you got
Packers.
these two
Well, I
great
don't know.
players who can't work, who can't.
Oh no,
lose
Aaron
the-
Rodgers can work.
I don't know. Paul
It's different
knows.
in the NFL.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Well,
not as-
real quick,
not as
does
strict.
Paul know? Do you know about Aaron Rodgers and the whole thing with Kyrie Irving? What they are?
No, I don't think I do.
All right, so do you mind if I explain?
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
get your opinion.
All right, so Aaron Rodgers, he plays in the NFL. He's a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. The
Right.
NFL currently does not have a vaccine mandate to where you have to get vaccinated, but they do require you to take
Weekly testing.
2 tests a week or whatever.
Okay.
2 tests, one at this and that and that. Aaron Rodgers did not, take the vaccine, but when he was asked, first of all, you shouldn't be asking someone that medical history on public things anyway.
Right.
Oh, did you get a vaccine? He was like, I'm inoculated, right?
Mm.
He didn't take the vaccine because maybe because he was going to take it, but he said he had a reason, which is that he was allergic to one of the ingredients.
Oh, I heard that.
He's
Yeah.
off. So he's off the table. So he took every other drug. He did the Joe Rogan thing. Ivermectin.
Right, I heard that.
Vitamin C.
What, become a horse?
Yeah.
Vitamin C, ivermectin, all other stuff.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second and you could talk again.
Hmm?
There's a commercial that'll say, I can't use natural... It'll say, like, natural remedies could help protect me, and it's, like, false. And it's
Yeah, I've
like,
seen that one.
bitch, like, are you sure about that? Like,
Yeah, right.
people have proved that you could protect
The
yourself
same pharmaceutical
that way.
companies that fucking manufactured all of these fucking drug
Which you
addiction
can't
crises.
which you can't sue after if there's ever type
Oh,
of any side effects. Yeah.
They're gonna get into the fentanyl market next. Believe you me.
That also manufactured an opioid crisis.
Yeah. All right. So Aaron Rodgers, he said that he was inoculated, which the reporters took to they thought it meant that he got the vaccine. So everything went along for the rest of the season. He wasn't supposed to play, by the way. He was considering contemplating retirement.
Right.
So he jumped back on board in August, came back to training camp. So when he came back, he played or whatever, and it came out that it was 2 weeks ago that he wasn't vaccinated. The NFL knew he wasn't vaccinated, and his team knew he wasn't vaccinated. He was just taking his test or whatever and continuing on and playing. So it came out, and then the whole world, the whole sports world was like, well, he's a liar. He told us this. He told us that. He should be ashamed of himself. And it's like, you don't have a right to know medical history. And that's the one thing I feel is like we're losing. The whole certain things, where you have cases where we talk about gun rights or whatever. But that one is like your HIPAA rights. No one's supposed to know, about your health but you and your doctor.
Right.
Right? So, the invasion, it's going to be normalized to where people are going to just ask you, hey, are you this, are you that, are you this, are you that? It's like, imagine walking to a person and saying, hey, do you have AIDS? Did you get the AIDS, vaccine? Or, did you get the smallpox vaccine?
Yeah,
Did you get the polio vaccine?
Do they have an AIDS vaccine? Is that a
No,
real thing?
You have pills for HIV. There's medication.
Yeah,
for
Truvada.
There was
like
a
that.
scandal, or not, I don't know if you could call it a scandal, but there was something where somebody purchased the rights for the AIDS medication and significantly increased.
Oh, you're talking about
the
Shkreli. No, it was for it was an HIV medication where it was like a generic where it cost $4 a pill. He boosted it up to $50 or something like that, and everyone he was the villain.
And then didn't he purchase I heard
The
he purchased
Wu-Tang
the
album.
Wu-Tang album? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh.
What happened with that? What's the new
Also, since he went to jail, the feds because he did a federal crime. Since he did federal crime, the feds seized his shit, and it's in the possession of government. Someone else bought it now, and now they can do whatever they want with it. All right, but so comparing that, with Aaron Rodgers to Kyrie, the reason why I guess people aren't as mad with Kyrie.
Because he was upfront.
Because he was straight up. He's like, I'm not taking it.
Right.
He didn't, matter of fact, he didn't even say he's not taking it. He's just saying he wants more answers behind why we have to, or or
Right,
why is it a
and
requirement?
What's wrong with questioning things?
And especially when you have rules like, all right, so Bradley Beal plays for, he's also one guy who questioned it, and he's still not vaccinated, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I remember.
Yeah, oh, okay.
He was able to play in Barclays that same night of the fucking protest, in front of Barclays. He was not vaccinated, because it was they were playing the Wizards that night, weren't they?
I don't remember.
Right? But I think it was that same week. At least that same week, or that same homestand they were on, that Bradley Beal could come to New York City and play, and he's not vaccinated, but due to the rules in New York City, Kyrie can't play in his own home stadium.
Right.
But the thing with that is, with Kyrie, with the Nets, they was like, people were saying in front of the building, don't blame.
Yeah, it's coming down.
Don't blame Kyrie, don't blame the Nets. It's the NBA doing it. One, it wasn't the NBA
It's
doing
alright.
it. It is the Nets
Hoist
doing
it up for the bit.
Right.
Well, it's also
Please, guys.
It was the Nets doing it because he could play in away games.
it's also not even with same thing with Joe Rogan with Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan. I love Joe, but the whole thing it was kind of bullshit to where he's unvaccinated. He was able to perform a sellout show.
Yeah, he still hasn't gotten it,
we're
right?
not allowed. No,
No.
he's not getting it.
I have
Neither is kids.
I have like a good
It's
question
his
too.
Yeah, it's his
So you do need it if you want to do like acting and stuff. Like when I do background work, we need to get tested all the time, and also I think we need to have. Some productions you do need to show proof, but I've been fortunate where I haven't needed it, like a vaccine for the productions I've done. But say if someone like there's a big movie like Spider-Man: No Way Home coming out, Tom Holland. Say if he decided, you know what, I'm sure he did get vaccinated. He probably had to. But what if he decided, you know what, I don't want to?
That's happening with Black
Panther. The production got shut completely down.
So like they would have done that with Spider-Man. They would have had to shut it down.
Because Letitia Wright didn't want to. But the reason why they had
bro.
the reason why they shut down Black Panther, the new one, is because first of all,
Chadwick died.
He's already dead, so it was kind of already on thin ice at that point.
Right.
So it's like might as well just scrap it all. With the whole Spider-Man thing, you can have him film his scenes at home and just put a mask on his face. Because he's Spider-Man, it's CGI. You can find a way around it.
Yeah, in a way, but there are a lot of scenes without wearing it.
But the thing with that is,
bro.
they were gonna cancel, Black Panther anyway. I think it was doomed from the start.
Are you guys big Marvel fans? How do you feel?
Well, I'm not really that big of a comic book fan. But
I get crazy into it, and I wish like they didn't show as much as they do nowadays. Everyone's like, go watches the trailers, and they're like, "Did you see that? Did you see this?" Oh, and everyone has these theories and all that, and it kind of ruins the movie. But it is interesting to see how smart people could be. You know, like.
My biggest problem with Marvel movies, it's like Marvel movies are literally like driving to like the store and coming back. They're so fast. Like every scene is literally.
You
it's
can't
like
see anything.
no, it's not that. It's like they're in Mexico. Like 2 minutes later.
Time jumps. Like,
2 minutes later.
Right.
They're in London.
Like the last season of Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones, where every character was in this part of the world, and that part of the world, and that part of the world.
And you can't use an excuse for Game of Thrones because they didn't have fucking planes and magic teleport.
They took the hours from Lord of the Rings to fucking fly. But yeah, it's funny.
I think there's a lot of evidence that they are going to be.
They have to be. Imagine.
Definitely. This is like 3 generations of Spider-Man movies coming on. Like,
but there's still people that are in denial. They're like, you guys are going to be like so upset when they're not in it. It's like, don't you want them to be in it? Like, why even make some stupid comment? Like shut up.
You know who those same people are, Sean? You know who those same people are? Those are the same people who took the fucking vaccine. That's who the fuck those people are.
They're the same people that don't want Kyrie to fucking play baseball.
That's a funny sign to put on the street corner or marking a protest with people who still don't believe Tony Maguire, Andrew Garfield are in the next Spider-Man.
It's because they're rooting for the Sinister Six. That's why.
Deli, I wanted to mention something because you mentioned Lord of the Rings, right? I'm gonna share a controversial opinion, and you might have to cut this out, but I like the Hobbit movies more than the Lord of the Rings.
Oh shit! That's not controversial. I'm actually on his side.
Very controversial. That's very controversial.
I actually agree.
Don't shit
I actually like the Hobbit movies a little
more
too.
Now, okay, I'm gonna ask a simple question.
I can give you the reason. All right. So first off, let me just say that I actually watched The Hobbit first, and then I watched The Lord of the Rings second. It seems like when it comes this happens sometimes with video games and stuff too, but a lot of people who like The Lord of the Rings more, I think they watched that one first. The reason I like The Hobbit more is because they build a little bit more on the different races within the Lord of the Rings universe, like the different dynamics between the different armies and stuff. I feel like The Hobbit did that better than Lord of the Rings. Because Lord of the Rings, it kind of just follows the protagonist most of the movie.
What the hell are you saying? You missed. There's the whole battle of Helm's Deep with the elves fighting alongside the men and against the Orcai. What are you talking about?
Go on.
Well, there's that. Lord of the Rings is 100% better with the action scenes, but The Hobbit's got some great ones too.
But what's
Well, talking about how the story,
the story
is more.
The story. What? It's more what? Like adhesive? What are you fucking kidding me? That's the biggest dog shit take I've ever heard. First of all, that's how true it is. First of all, the one thing I hate the CGI was dog shit. All the Lord of the Rings movies, yes, they obviously had CGI, but also the the special effects and the makeup. All those actors, like the orcs and the Orcai, that was actual like costume designers and makeup artists doing that. The Hobbit fucking. The Hobbit literally gave you that Pringles box right there and just like, here you go. That's it.
You watched all three of the movies?
I watched all three,
That's
fucking
so
three. The first one I saw, Fellowship, I saw on TV when I was younger, and then I saw the next two. No, I saw the second one. I saw the second one in the theaters. No, I saw the second one on TV, and the third one I saw in the theaters. Okay, but besides that, the actors. Better. First of all, you have Aragorn. There's no Lord of the Rings without him. Frodo, that whole thing.
Yeah, he's cool. What's his name again?
There's just I don't understand. Give me another point. No. Because what makes him? I don't understand what makes them better. Like there's no.
Likes it, you know.
That's fine. I didn't know that this was going to get you going more than like the politics. This is the most controversial thing I could have said regarding the Lord of the Rings movie.
No, because
men discussing politics, men discussing.
You watched that? You watched Clerks 2, right?
Yes.
You remember the scene when? I don't remember the characters' names, but there's an argument that
between Randall and the guy
customer about Lord of the Rings, right? And he vomits because he gets so angry, and the rest of you remember that?
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite scenes in the Clerks movies.
With The Hobbit, I just really liked the story and the interaction with all the dwarves. Like they were like family, and you see this whole adventure they go on together, and they were really funny. Like I don't know, no, there's a whole adventure with the Lord of the Rings, of course. But you like the battle. You don't like the battle.
What was the family? What were the fellowships? What were they, neighbors? Like I don't understand. Like
you're right, but
no. What I'm saying is the whole thing with Boromir, how the ring corrupted him, and then he got out of being indoctrinated by the ring. How fucking Merry and Pippin got kidnapped, and their whole story, and the two towers, how they meet up with the Ents, and then the whole story where Arwen and Aragorn.
Are in the Hobbit too, though.
What?
The Ents are in the Hobbit as well.
For fucking
to be fair, I have watched the Hobbit movies twice.
But they're not as pivotal and vital as they are, bro. They take down fucking Isengard. How you
They
are
are a bit pivotal. All right. Well, I don't want to argue about this particular stuff too much. Maybe it makes good content.
I know, Sean. Just get on to the next topic.
We mentioned something before. I wanted to touch on this because it's an interesting point. Because I mentioned. People who watched the Lord of the Rings first and grew up with it generally seem to like it more. And I've heard this case brought up in MMO games. Have any of you ever played MMOs before?
Yes.
I mean,
does
Age of Empires count as an MMO?
No,
I don't know, but you could probably relate this to some other video games too. A lot of people say that certain games suck now. Like, they just don't make the games well anymore. Like, they do this and that. And
I mean, it is least common denominator shit they do with video games now.
But I heard someone online make a case that the games themselves don't suck. the conditions in your life have changed in such a way that it seems like
because when you're playing it, you're a kid. You don't have anything to worry about.
You want to know something like ridiculous too? So Pokemon, this new Pokemon Diamond and Pearl just came out. It's like a remake, but you got like grown men complaining that it's not like how it should be, and it's like, bro, like at the end of the day,
you're not 8 years old anymore.
It's not for your demographic. Like it's more towards kids. Look, I get it. Like, in a way, it is for us too because it's a remake and like we grew up playing that game. Yeah. But like it shouldn't bother you that much that like the art style is not like how you want it.
For your children now,
or some things, yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's just Pokemon. You should love it no matter how it is. Look, I'm not saying like even if there's some problems, you should just be okay with it. But it's. It shouldn't be ruining your day.
I have heard some. I have seen some legitimate criticisms for the new Pokemon games, like the graphics aren't what they should be, things like that. But soon, you're gonna play Pokemon
Gameplay over
Go.
graphics, by the way.
Right.
Pretty soon you're gonna be playing Pokemon Go, and you're gonna have to be vaccinated.
No, the Pokemon are going to need to be vaccinated in order to come out of the fucking ball.
Yeah, right.
You know what game does look good? They got the Arceus one coming out. Now that looks more like an RPG Pokemon game.
That looks fun.
That looks sick.
On the Switch, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be dope.
Well, you find out Paul's gonna have a stand up in like 2-3 years.
You guys Harry Potter fans? Because we were talking about Lord of the Rings.
A little bit. I have to watch those movies.
I mean, I seen the first one. When it first came out, it was alright. We saw it. My cousins, my girl cousins, they all read those. They were.
Yeah, I wish I read those.
They were religiously about those books. When every single book came out, they read it within like a week. That it was already done with it.
The actors like Daniel Radcliffe and Hermione, what's her name? Emma Watson.
Yeah.
They were posting on like their Instagram. They're like, oh, it's been 20 years since we filmed like the Sorcerer's Stone. And I was like, wow, like 20 fucking years.
Yeah, they're old now, right? They were little kids.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's insane.
And now she's like this freaking.
She's beautiful. I love her.
But now she's a UN like representative and stuff. Where they gave her a job to do. Kind of like, what was it? Who was like the actress that went around? She was actually like the Princess in Monaco or something like that. I forgot what her name was.
Oh.
Grace Kelly. They had, yeah. She was going around, being like a world liaison or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, Harry Potter. That has an interesting origin story because it was written by like a single mother who lived in her car or something, right? Is that the case?
Yeah, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, I like stuff that has.
She was on what they call what do you call it? Like what do you call it in the benefits in the UK?
Yeah. She's banned from the reunion.
Yeah, I wasn't going to open this box because of what she did. Because I know what happened with her. I didn't want to open this.
Wait, she's banned from the reunion of her own story that she wrote?
Oh, you're not aware.
Well, what the fuck is that?
A few years or so, there's this whole battle between third wave feminists and fourth wave feminists on the transgender issue or whatever.
You have something in Britain that's called the LGB, lesbian, gays, bisexuals. There's no
T.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So one feminist, right? And they call them TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists, right?
Okay.
So that means they don't like transgender, because they say a lot of transgenders.
Oh, and is she not crazy about?
Yeah, right.
No.
Right. So the transgenders, what they do, or over there, right? So she's saying that what they do is that they're gonna say, you don't want to sleep with me because you're a transphobe. Right? It's like this whole big row.
Sorry, you have a penis. I'm just
be careful. Be careful how much you talk about this because you might never be able to make money on YouTube ever.
There's a woman that put a sign up saying woman, female human, right? And that was the biggest row. Like this is the lady who was the this third wave feminist.
Right.
She had a sign that put up. I think that's me. All right.
No, but basically she says something along the lines. I'm horribly paraphrasing, but she basically said that trans women aren't real women.
And they got crazy about it.
And she got into a Twitter argument with this. I really don't know who she got into the Twitter argument with, but she basically said along the lines of, I think she was just very out front with it. And she was like, trans women aren't real women, and they literally crucified her. And the funniest thing is, Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter, what? What's his name?
Radcliffe.
Oh, Radcliffe.
It's okay.
No, what's the guy's name who plays
Ron Weasley?
Yeah, Ron.
Oh shit.
Herbert something, I think. Hoover. I don't know the
You
name.
want me to look it up? Do a
No,
fact check?
no, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I botch names all the time. But and then Emma Watson. All three of them came out and disavowed J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, I
Did they?
think.
Yeah.
And I'm really quick to say one thing. But ironically, you know who defended her?
Who?
The actor who played Voldemort.
What?
And he's not going to.
Of all
He's not.
people,
And he's
bro.
not going to the reunion.
Oh, that's
Because
really
he's not
sad.
straight, right? Is that the case?
I don't know, but I believe that the
Interesting.
actor Voldemort is not allowed either, or he's not going because he came out and publicly defended J.K.
Or
Rowling.
you're talking about Ray Fiennes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Notch
crazy.
is banned from attending Minecon for Minecraft.
you know Ron
the
Weasley's
creator of
name?
Minecraft, he's not allowed to
Rupert
attend the
Rupert
Minecraft
Grint,
convention
okay.
anymore.
Why?
Similar reasons. Similar
Yeah, so-
factors.
She got
That's
canceled from her own series because of
That's
A woman who
gender politics.
a woman who literally inspired a generation of kids to not only fall in love with reading but also fall in love
But the
with
wor-
writing.
Well,
and
one of the
critical
reasons why they
thinking and coming up with
disavowed,
stories and characters. I'm sorry.
I think Harry Potter actually does have a lot of, or at least did have a lot of trans fans. I'm not 100% sure about that,
Yeah.
but I think that was the case.
Well, I would say yeah, because there
And of
hasn't
course,
been
yeah, it
more
has-
transgenders. I would say now than there's been any other.
Yeah, and the reason why I think it is because they can, for what they go through, their struggles they go through, it's kind of like an escape. You go into a school where you can perform magic and stuff like that. They see it as a thing.
Well, the
And I
right,
get it.
well, the right crucified that book for a long time, saying, "No, get that fucking
They
voodoo
yeah,
devil black
voodoo
magic
shit,
out
yeah,
of
juju
this
shit.
house."
But then they're not gonna say shit about the UK rappers actually talking about doing voodoo and shit, right?
What you know about voodoo?
Yeah, right. Which is another topic, right?
Yo,
Oh,
guys,
speaking
I-
of topics,
Yeah, I actually wanted to. Oh wait,
Yeah.
before we get into that, I wanted to go back to. I wanted to talk about this with you guys. I'm gonna play this audio for you of this guy. He's talking about.
oh,
So supposedly, Bill Gates is talking about smallpox,
Terrifying
and
stuff,
and like listen to what this guy says. It's pretty interesting. All right.
Small stuff long enough, you'll learn everything you need to know about what the next big thing is going to be. For example, why is Bill Gates suddenly traveling all over the world to discuss his concerns about a worldwide outbreak of smallpox? The new James Bond movie, its storyline centers around weaponized smallpox.
Spoiler alert.
The FDA just approved a brand new
No,
drug
okay.
that you take orally that fights smallpox. And the government, our government, spent $113 million purchasing said drug. Now, let me be clear here. Smallpox doesn't just pop up. It's been eradicated from the earth for 40 years. The only entities that have access to
Not fair
the
enough.
smallpox virus are universities and government bodies. The more you know.
So I don't know. You know what people are saying? They think like, and I think that's kind of true too. COVID, if it was really created in a lab for the purpose of trying to diminish the population, it didn't do. It wasn't as worse as they had hoped it would be. So now they gotta come out with something else.
The
like,
theory
like
is that it's like it
smallpox.
was like a little test run or something.
Right, something like that. And like I don't know, this guy Bill Gates, I feel like he.
Oh yeah, he's definitely dirty.
What are we gonna do about this guy? Like this guy is fucking
I mean,
running
nothing-
rampant. Like,
Nothing you can do. But this is where like I said before, this is where I'm not the most pious person, most religious person, but this is where I lean. You would lean on faith. To me personally,
yeah, dude, really? Like,
this is where I would lean on faith. Is like all of this stuff has been foretold. So that's the reason why I've been so calm about a lot of this stuff is because bad things must happen before the reawakening happens. So so that's that's what I lean on though. I lean on on faith and so I'm not worried about if the world's gonna fucking go through nuclear power because what can I do about that?
Yeah.
But, protect my family, make sure we're good for
when was it? So he said 40 years. That was the last time like smallpox was like a thing.
Yeah, it was eradicated. And smallpox.
Was it really bad too? Was it?
Yeah, smallpox is crazy. Like once you get smallpox, you're brown bread.
Oh
You're done.
my Jesus
Once
Christ.
you're brown bread. Same thing with
Brown
rabies.
bread.
First of all, there's not a lot of what do you call? We need to be more important about rabies. Rabies is serious. Once you get rabies, you're done.
Dude, I feel like if rabies ever
Get like
mutated or really got bad, I feel like rabies could be the start of like a zombie apocalypse.
well, no, because once you get rabies, you're gonna be dead in like a week.
Yeah, is it that? Oh my
Can
god, dude.
it can be treated though, right?
No, you're done. there's only been like 2 people. They say I think 2 or 3 people that have survived rabies. You know.
What if like you got bit
without
by a
treatment or anything
raccoon
like that?
and you go to a hospital and get antibiotics?
Well, if you got the rabies vaccine, vaccine or whatever, maybe. But your rabies shots. But if you get rabies,
it's like I only thought
unless
to
I
do
guess
that
unless
for my
you-
dog though.
yeah,
and
unless
not, like,
unless you're just right there at the hospital ground, and that animal had rabies, it's 100. The death rate for rabies is damn near 99.99. Yes.
Excuse me, do we have to
And if
check that?
if you do survive, you're gonna be brain damaged.
Really?
Yeah. All right, because it's a nervous system disease.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you get rabies or whatever, right? One thing that's terrifying about rabies is one of the symptoms is hydrophobia. So let's say, what do you call it? You got rabies. You had it for a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
I had you a glass of water. You try to drink it. Mind you, you're dehydrated. You got rabies and you're trying to drink. You're gonna be like this with the water. You
Can't even like Like by the time it gets to your mouth, it's gonna be empty. Like.
Because you can't drink it. It's like your
Oh,
brain is rabies is terrifying. Rabies is terrifying. You want to scare people? Show them a fucking rabies freaking patient. It's terrifying.
Yeah. So that video with that guy talking about I don't know. It's kind of scary.
It is a scare tactic. That's why if the FBI was really investigating, would they really let the public know?
Yeah.
It's done to put you on it. 80% of the stories on the news are done to alarm you.
Well, what is it that we all think is the reason that Bill Gates is, for example, lobbying $360 million to CNN, MSNBC, and all other various media outlets? Why is it that he's now officially become the largest owner of farmland in the United States? Why is he investing in money in synthetic meats? Why is he, in a sense, creating his own nuclear plants? Why is Bill Gates also being involved now? How is he all of a sudden now being like the spokesperson for pharmaceutical companies, or how he's all of a sudden now
Excellent points.
being displayed as his doctor? No, there's many answers all of us can give. Now, do you feel like at the end of the day that there are people who hear everything that we just said and they just look at that and just say to themselves, well, what do you expect? That's just some rich billionaire, buying influence, which is
90% of them.
which is 90% of them. But at the end of the day, I feel like here's the way I look at it. It's kind of like this. You have like a lot of liberal. I kind of like piggyback what I was saying before. I do believe systematic. When we were talking about before, I do believe that systematic racism exists to a certain extent. But when you have people, because it's mainly the left that's advocating for the vaccine mandates and the shunning of whatever population that doesn't decide not to get the vaccine. So it's like when they mention like how there's systematic racism in every element in every element of the government
And
society pretty much, and they talk about how it's this very
machine.
oiled machine that's been in place for
One white guy in
thousands of years.
Orange County, California, is in connection with some guy in freaking Rome, New York, and shit.
Exactly, like how and this ideology of like white supremacy is being perpetuated.
They got the white
globally
supremacy
across
chip
the
in the
world.
head.
But the thing is, you can agree with that and say, yeah, that exists, regardless of how you feel. If you believe that's horseshit, or you believe that's right to a certain extent, or whatever the case is. They'll believe all that. They'll believe that all that is orchestrated perfectly. But then when you bring up like Bill Gates, or you bring up like, for example, George Soros, or you bring up all these other rich philanthropists, exactly, that are lobbying money to governments, and also but also CEOs of companies.
The billionaires they supposedly hate.
The billionaires that they supposedly hate they're geniuses one day. They're geniuses one day that are able to compile and configure this huge global plan of white supremacy, or whatever type of supremacy you want to call it. But then when you get to the point where you mention, well, what about the vaccine mandates, and how are you worried about more of a medical tyranny? How the government now, in a sense, is shifting towards a social credit system, how we're going to be tracked more. You know what I mean? Every purchase that we make, every amount of money that we put into the bank is going to be tract, they look at you and say, well, it's all for science. Or they're saying you're being hyperbolic, and then they start lambasting you on the fact that they think that you're fucking crazy for just even suggesting this, what they think is a horseshit, crazy conspiracy theory.
Denial is a powerful drug.
It's denial, but here's the, how much is it denial? I know I'm speaking too long, but it's just, how many friends do we have that we know that, for example, that work in the medical field?
A lot.
Yeah. And what did they do? They accumulated debt, and they went to school for 8 years. Like, do you really think that they're going to, even if they do believe with us, they do believe what we believe, do you think at the end of the day they're going to say, you know what, you're right, I'm just going to drop out of school and have $50K worth of debt still with nothing? They won't. And after spending 8 years in school,
they got their balls in a vice right now.
The golden handcuffs.
I was actually just speaking to someone who I knew from high school who moved out to, I think, Arizona, and she told me that she has not gotten the vaccine, and she said because she had COVID already, and she says you can't, like, it's been a few months and she still can't taste. I have another friend.
A few months?
Yeah, it's been, I don't know, a few months, maybe, it was like a few weeks, few months.
Oh, okay.
But I have a friend who said that he got COVID, and he used to really like soda, and ever since he got COVID, he says he hates it. So I'm like, I guess COVID did you a favor.
Right?
Yeah, like,
healthy
COVID
now.
actually.
Yeah, now he's gonna be healthy.
His intestines won't turn to liquid shit after all.
Yeah, but Deli, to expound on your point with you saying, do they really believe what they're being fed or whatever? And it's like, no, they don't. But they have no other option in their brain because, it's like the red pill in the Matrix. They can't, like, remember Cypher, how he betrayed everybody at the end?
That's the majority of the people.
That's everybody.
That's everybody.
They want to go back. They want to go back to their beds. That's what's happening right now with all the things that they're giving you. Oh, we'll give you this. We'll give you this back. You can go see Broadway shows again. It's the snooze button on their fucking alarm.
Yeah.
That's the snooze button.
So yeah, I always thought it was ridiculous how they were bribing us with money, as if $100 was a lot. You could, depending on how much you work, you could make $100 in a few hours. You know what I mean? It's not like a struggle to get $100. And for a kid, it may seem like a lot, but I feel like does a kid who's still in like elementary school really need $100 like at that moment?
And even kids are making that much money nowadays doing what they gotta do.
Yeah,
man.
and plus Paul said something before off camera. He was like, they pay you like not to work, so like why are they? But now they're gonna pay you to get a vaccine, to work. I don't know.
I think that would be the cash reward for getting the vaccine would be more appealing to teenagers because, and this goes back to the broadcast I was talking about earlier, a lot of them either don't see a point in getting the vaccine or they just don't trust it. So the $100 award is pretty enticing to someone who's much younger than us.
Yeah, and who's ambivalent towards it, like whatever, I'll get it.
Because $100, I mean, when you're young, like when you're in your early teens,
it seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot because you can get like a new game or controller. Or
that's
something
going
like
into FIFA freaking Ultimate Team, right?
All right, guys. So I'm gonna go a little off the rails here.
All right.
And I wanted to get your opinions, and maybe you guys could explain to me more about all this shit. But what do you guys think about the Buddha mouth?
Mouthy Buddah?
Mouthy Buddah, yeah.
And like this.
The documentaries he's been making.
And it has to do with like the child sex trafficking.
I believe what he's been doing
terrible.
believe what he's been doing is
Wait, no. First, say with the conspiracy. First, let's lay it out with what it is. Wait, so.
I mean, it's not nothing that people haven't thought about for decades already.
No, but there's a lot of people that don't know about the
symbols.
I think you can quickly. Oh, Paul, who can quickly surmise?
Oh,
this?
I can.
All right, go ahead. All right, surmise it quickly for everybody.
Well, to surmise this quickly, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is a cabal or a sect of Hollywood elite, political leader, world elite that engage in pedophilic activities, and they use their positions of power and influence to successfully do that. They use symbolisms to identify each other and to also show you what they're doing as a sort of like ritual thing. So those who do know about all these symbols can see that, and it could be out there. It's also a way of justifying what they do. The elites do it all the time. Like, if we're showing you and you're not doing anything about it, then it's okay. That's basically why they do that. It's kind of like a weird rule. What's going on with, the whole Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell thing is something that he's been trying to investigate, and he's been delving into, like, this rabbit hole, and finding this and that, it involves a whole lot of celebrities, and it's pretty deep stuff.
That's a trial going on right now, and I'm not going to get into the whole Rittenhouse trial, because that's a topic for another episode, but it's just crazy how, there's a lot of media and people's attentions on Kyle Rittenhouse's trial about what happened in Kenosha last year. But they're not talking about this trial that's going on right now. Or the fact that, this rapper Young Dolph got, like, shot and killed by 3 men while he was in his favorite bakery just trying to get cookies. Like, no one's talking about this other stuff that I feel is
very important. The Ahmaud Arbery trial.
Yeah.
In Georgia.
Right. That's been going on the same amount of time that the Rittenhouse trial has been going along. And I feel that's, something that we should be able to talk about if we were to talk about, politics and rich politics in America. I think that's very important.
Wait, so really quick, I want to highlight the Mouthy Buddah documentary.
Sure.
You can't get over
Where is that documentary, by the way?
It's on a BitChute. Oh, definitely not.
No,
Netflix. It will definitely never be on Netflix.
The guy who created the channel was originally on YouTube, and he created a lot of it. He created a lot of, let's just say, questionable, controversial videos on topics where he really played the middle ground very well.
Yeah.
Like displaying both sides of a conspiracy, and then also what could be true in the exact opposite of the conspiracy.
Yeah. Very good.
Very, very, very well made videos. So he started making these documentaries about Pizzagate, and how that's basically where he started. He basically started off with it. For a lot of people don't know, with Pizzagate, it was a conspiracy. I'm just gonna say a conspiracy, just for the layman, quote unquote. But basically, it was a conspiracy where this guy read leaked emails from, what was it, WikiLeaks? WikiLeaks released 30,000 emails regarding that were from Hillary Clinton's emails, John Podesta's emails, and a bunch of high-ranking people who worked in Washington D.C.
Abramovich, stuff like that.
Yeah, and long story short,
the whole email fucking chain.
The whole email chain, yeah. And within those emails, there was weird words or weird conversations that, for example, they had the term pizza, the term handkerchief, the term cheese, and so, to keep it succinct, there's an encrypted language that exists in the world of pedophilia where there's not only symbols like Josh said, but also certain words that have certain meanings. I think it's like pizza means you want a young boy. I think cheese is a young girl. I botched that, but that's what these words
basically
mean.
More or less is like, certain codes.
There's certain codes that they use. And the kid delved into Pizzagate to see what was, if it's true or not. And then after looking upon Pizzagate, he went down this huge rabbit hole. Pretty much,
he wasn't looking for trouble, but he kind of found it.
Exactly. So pretty much in the
curiosity killed the cat, right?
So pretty much in the document, what he highlights in the documentary is the guy who owns Comet Ping Pong Pizza. That's the pizzeria that supposedly is a front for this human trafficking ring in Washington, D.C.
Or one of them.
Or one of them. The guy who owns it is a man named James Alefantis. GQ magazine had a thing where it ranked the top 50 most influential and powerful people in Washington, D.C. And James Alefantis, I think, was either number 50 or 49 on that list. And that started raising a lot of questions, and I'm curious about that too. How is it that a restaurant owner and a pizza guy is ranked the 50th most powerful person in Washington?
Yeah, because he's I don't know what his job was. I think he just owned a lot of companies.
I
think he was a lawyer. I think his first thing was like a lawyer or something like that. I can't remember.
But basically, long story short, the kid Mouthy Buddah does a whole deep dive into this, and he notices, for example, to fill in the blanks. A reporter named Ben Swan did a whole take on this on mainstream media, and he lost his job because of it. He did a 5-minute segment, a deep dive into this, and basically it's confirmed by the FBI that there are certain symbols, like Josh was saying, that are used in the world of pedophilia, and one of the symbols is a triangle with a spiral in the middle. And that indicates you're into like little boys. And then there's just a squiggle that indicates that you're into young girls. And this is confirmed. And this is confirmed by a memo released by the FBI that this exists.
Yeah, it's still, you go look at it right now on the FBI website.
So Comic Ping Pong Pizza, the kid starts diving into all these restaurants, all these businesses, and all these chains that use that symbol, and he dives in and he notices that these owners of these particular restaurants have strange connections to each other. So the one thing that made him like, for example, do a deep dive was I don't even get to the fucking Obama thing that he does. But
which was fucking crazy
which is crazy too. But
I would be like,
it's like, for example, he goes in real time to Google DuckDuckGo, and the kid shows how
you can search up shit.
You can find child pornography, and it's being
on the surface web.
On the surface web. And he literally, there's a disclaimer in the beginning. He's like, warning.
Don't look this shit up.
Don't do everything that. He's like, whatever you do, do not look up the businesses. He's like, don't Google this. Google what whatever I'm doing. He's like, because I got all of this with the advice of a lawyer.
Did you guys hear about that professor recently who was basically saying like, if you're into that child pornography, that's okay or something? Wasn't that weird?
They got.
What was that about? I think they fired him, but like that was weird.
They need to be fired.
Yeah,
out of a cannon into a wall.
Yeah,
that's what they should do. I think. I mean, maybe not to sound like fucked up, but like I think they should bring back
public executions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I think people would
get the message.
Crime.
I think they would get the message.
Yeah, because now you're not just getting like arrested. You're being publicly embarrassed and executed. I think
your
people would be like, wait,
it's feeling the brunt of that shit too.
Yeah. Like I don't know, but anyway, you were saying.
Oh, it's just because
lighten the mood of levity.
It did now. This sounds now to the normal average person. This might sound crazy, and I understand. And I'm gonna be honest with you. It kind of was like the Matrix, where you literally take it's either blue pill, red pill, and it's actually my life has kind of changed after watching these documentaries and after seeing these symbols.
Yeah,
it's because I can't stop seeing them. And I don't know if that's even part of like some grandeur plan.
Awakening, right?
Not even awakening, or if that's where, the whole purpose did the propaganda work to where it's the whole trick to it is to make you be in such a place of to put you in a situation where you can't dictate what's true or what's false.
Yeah, you can no longer enjoy shit.
Not even enjoy, but basically going back to I'm like censoring myself because I don't want to sound fucking crazy because it's a lot. So the kid went on the guy James Alphonse, this guy who owns Comet Ping Pong Pizza. He went on his personal Instagram. Before the shooting, after the shooting he made it private. But he noticed that all the people who follow the pizzeria are all weird men within their like 40s, 50s, 60s, and all these guys.
That's like the mind shit.
Yeah, but then also all
Doesn't
these
seem like
men.
a coincidence.
No, yes, but now here's where it gets crazier. All these men have very weird photos with young kids in their like Instagram bio pics.
Is it their kids? Like
that no one knows, but
yeah.
Once you go down this, and I had a friend, my
Weird.
friend Jamie did some of this shit. He went on like some of these people's Instagrams and he kept clicking, but the kid was noticing that all these Instagram accounts are all like followed by the same people, like certain politicians have like certain mutual friends with these people with these Instagram accounts that are very weird and very questionable. So it's like, for example, there's a lot of bands that play at Comic Ping Pong Pizza, and the bands, they all have the symbols, the pedophilia symbols, in their music videos, in their posters, and the kid does a deep dive on it, and he's like, now could this just all be a coincidence? And he's like, or who knows? So, the one point I get out, because he talks about Disney. A lot of people don't know the former vice president of Disney was arrested for raping a 9-year-old girl. And the guy, and another guy, not Dan Schneider, the one we all know that did Drake and Josh Nickelodeon. It was another guy. He was arrested. Basically, Disney, Nickelodeon, all these.
They're like all cults, bro. Like, especially Disney.
Yes.
Like when people go to Disney World, it's like a whole like cult.
Oh,
like the way people like act there, and like the actors, like they never break character. And maybe they're just good actors, but like other things, it's like a very strange place.
No, that's a whole like corporate propaganda camp. Mm-hmm. But though, and that's a whole problem too. Like the people who are like grown adults and they completely have like this Disney fetish. That's a whole problem in itself. But the thing is, Disney and all of these companies that strictly work with children have a pattern of hiring people that they know have either been arrested for molesting and or raping kids. And now people are going to say, oh, these symbols, where do you see them? Like, where are they? And the kid does a frame by frame of all the Disney movies for the past 20 years and how every single one of these Disney movies has all the pedophilia symbols in them. And now people roll their eyes when you say that because they're like, okay, who's putting the symbols in? So you're saying like there's an editor that works for Disney that's being told, hey, put these symbols in. It's not that. Now this is my own thing. There was a video out on YouTube that came out. It's like the top 15 like craziest things like in a G-rated movie or Disney secrets they want to keep forever. There was an old Disney movie that had, I forgot, it was like rats. They were falling down, and like behind them, there was like an apartment complex, and there was a woman that was getting undressed.
Yeah, that's the Aristocats.
No, it wasn't the Aristocats. It was another movie. I thought it was the Aristocats too, but it isn't. So basically, long story short, if you pause at a certain frame, you see a woman like getting undressed. You see her breasts. And stuff.
It's an incident.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's weird.
So now here's where this relates to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Disney came out. There was an investigation. The FCC did an investigation. Disney confirmed that image was there and it was real. But they said it wasn't anybody on the Disney team because they said Disney, and I never knew this and no one probably knew this, they have and hire an outside independent production team, an editing team that works with Disney but they're not labeled Disney.
Really?
So that, and the guy was the head of the VP for basically the video is like the guy worked. He's basically like narrating. He's like, well, the VP worked at Disney for like how many years he did. He's like, how much damage could he do? And then it cuts to this montage of all the movies that came out when this guy was working for fucking Disney, the VP, and every single Lion King, MoMA. All our favorites had these pedophilia symbols in them. And he's saying now, is this all just chance? He's like, are we making this up? He's like, is this just a conspiracy? He's like, or is this real? And then like the kid shows
kind of like gaslighting you, like
gaslighting. And then for example, like the triangle with the circle, he takes pictures. Remember when the Pope came to New York City that one time?
Yeah, his hat.
That was International Children's Day. And he's like, here are the pictures from International Children's Day. He's like, and you decide.
How are they getting these kids in the first place?
Because they use charities, third world countries,
adoption,
refugees,
kids who are kidnapped. You know, kids getting trafficked is a lot.
Wow.
Look what happened with Haiti.
Haiti, yeah.
A lot of people don't know that what happened.
A lot of kids got kidnapped, and they will tell you themselves that. You know, a lot of rich people. Oh, I just got a Haitian baby, this and that.
That's scary.
Who has 2 Haitian kids that ran for office? What do you call it? Just recently, I think it wasn't Elizabeth Warren. It was one prominent person who has 2 Haitian kids.
Adopted?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. They were stealing kids out of Haiti. It is true.
Wow.
And people don't understand that's why. Oh, why is Haiti mad at us? It's because of the fact that literally Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation literally fucking laundered $4.2 billion out of fucking aid money that should have went to that fucking country after it was destroyed by a hurricane. Not only did they not see a dime of that money, but fucking, what was it? I think it was anywhere between 2,400 to... No, I think it was 2,600 fucking kids went missing.
And Haiti's not that big a country. Their population is something like 5 million or something like that. So you'll notice it.
So that's the thing. But then he also... But then he starts going bigger with it. It starts with...
Yeah, let them watch the movie. You definitely describing the whole movie.
No, because the whole thing at the end of the day is what's the true purpose of this? Is it cult? Is it for power? And that's where the question lies.
Well, I can answer that. Like I said before, it is to you know about the Georgia Guidestones?
Yes.
Right? It's like a rule for the elite to tell you what they're doing, right? Like I said before, it's a ritual. It's a justification. For example, if I tell you I'm going to punch you in your face, right? In 3, 2, 1, and I do it, and you don't do anything about it. Like, see what you did? You did something about it, right? You just didn't let me do it.
Yeah.
Then it's justification for them to continue doing what they're doing. What does every monarch have? What do you call it? Or they say they have to rule over the people.
Divine right.
Divine right. Exactly. So if I'm demonic or whatever, right? It's not even a good, spirituality. It's the demonic right? So I tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to do this to you, and you don't do anything about it, and I'm showing you. Then you're not smart to live. You're essentially cattle. And that's what the elite call, basically what they call them, chattel or cattle, right? So that's the reason why they do it. You notice it, right? We notice it. Our brains clicked and said, hey, something's not right here. My theory is the elite who do things like that, and you notice it, they leave those type of people alone. They let us find our own path.
Right.
They let the chattel, chatter amongst themselves. And because think about it, if you were to, if like-minded people were to really put their heads together and form like a secret thing to, get some land somewhere and live, and not engage in any other system, the elites are not going to bother you.
Then it makes you think about people like Chadwick Boseman, Anthony Bourdain. Weren't they trying to expose this whole
Chester
thing?
Bennington
And then they
Chris Cornell
supposedly killed themselves. I don't know. It's hard to believe that they would kill themselves with all the success they had. But then again, I mean, Linkin Park songs could be very depressing if you really
Chester
listen to the lyrics.
Was molested as a kid. He'll tell you that.
But
he had 30 years removed from all of that.
Yeah, and he had children. It just seems hard to believe he would just kill himself.
Fun fact, Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington, what they were doing, right? They were funding a pedophile. Same thing that Mouthy Buddah is doing. They were producing a Hollywood, expose about pedophilia and shit.
Trying to expose.
Yeah. They had a group,
And what's the easiest way to do to get rid of somebody? Oh, he killed himself. And they could use Chester Bennington's history.
They say Epstein killed himself,
Yeah, right. No, and one thing that I don't like about how they turn that shit into a meme, so it's not taken as seriously.
Oh, I know.
When you do shit like that, it's not. You can't take it seriously as a.
What do you think, Paul?
Well, we were talking about Jeffrey Epstein a bit. Why do you think Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you say that he was, or wasn't it said that he was about to come out and break some of this stuff?
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein he filmed everybody. It was kind of like an insurance plan. Well, clearly that don't mean shit when you get fucking pinched by the feds, right? So, right, because he knew he was dead, right? I just did it, but then if you kill yourself, it defeats the purpose anyway, right? But he had film on every person that visited his island.
Logbooks.
Even logbooks, even if they didn't touch a single kid or even a woman who was above age, right? That could damage your whole entire thing. Imagine if he said, "Oh, why haven't you seen Prince Andrew in fucking 2 years?"
Because he was seen with the girl. He was taking pictures with that girl.
And now, guess what? That girl's still alive. Now, if that girl ends up dead, what happens? Oh wow, this girl just ends up dead after you get accused of doing all of this shit.
You think all that evidence and videos are deleted now?
No.
People
wouldn't they just delete them to be like, oh, well, now you got nothing on us?
No, because just because he had them, right? Someone else could use them against all the people there.
True.
It's who gets, first come, first serve. I get dibs on the fucking world-changing blackmail.
You were talking about symbols before. The Deathly Hallows symbol is starting to look a little suspicious. No, I'm joking.
Right back, right?
But yeah.
Hey, who say they didn't get to J.K. Rowling to where her later books were? Hey, write about this, write about that.
Yeah, honestly.
And and they, you hear about a lot of time in rap, rituals. They told me. Oh, have you ever heard about things like that in rap?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so-
people are saying the thing with Astro World.
It's like
ritual.
it was ritual. Like
Oh, dude.
it's very true.
Started.
It's very true that they do rituals to as like an initiation. Why do you think Kanye lost his mind?
That Astro World thing, I'm not, I'm going to save that for another episode too. Did really dive into it, but it was very demonic looking, and the fact that like people are like still defending that guy, that like he definitely he could have stopped it. He did it,
Honestly,
and,
I haven't seen enough of it. I can't speak on it because I didn't really.
Yeah, that's why
I'm gonna look into it.
It's very crazy because like people died, a lot of people got hurt, and just for no absolute reason at all. That was some people's like first concert experience.
But I believe there's something. I believe there is something more to it. It's not just Travis Scott. It's
you should have seen his apology. It was the most
it's
unsincere apology.
It's something. It's something more behind that.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. But like I said, rituals and symbolism is a part of the elite. And the Georgia Guidestones, if you know about that, is like that's the pretty much the goal.
Right.
85% people will be removed, and and that's the truth. Most people, they love their lives so much that plan will go throughout simply, like without a hitch.
So guys, before I end this episode today, I want to just talk about we got Thanksgiving coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys usually do for Thanksgiving? Your families are cool.
Yeah, we go see our family. eat some turkey, get some mac and cheese.
I don't know if Paul can.
I don't need too much anyway for Thanksgiving, so
That's change. You getting that what do you call it? What do you call it? What is it again? What's the word I'm looking for? Metabolism up.
So
yeah, I've always been a very picky eater though.
Well, really quick, go into the camera. Tell them what your little dilemma is.
I didn't want to talk about this.
No, don't talk about
my
it.
family.
No one's
gonna hear it.
Leave them out. But yes, same thing. Traditionally, we make some mac and cheese, turkey.
That's cool. I prefer the ham than the turkey because they make a nice like honey ham. Like my family, it's pretty cool.
Since my family, my mom, what do you call it? Majority of my family don't eat pork, so yeah, basically.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's always a nice day. I go to Brooklyn. Actually, this year though, we're going with my family in Jersey, so it's a little different.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't have a big family. When I get together, it's maybe like 20 of us. Maybe even a little
That's
less.
a big family for some people too, which is crazy.
I know, which is like it's honestly kind of
another
sad.
world problem is a lot of people aren't having kids anymore, so families getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, is that true?
Yeah. In America,
I might not even have kids. I don't know at this point anymore, guys. Like I almost don't want to bring kids into this world we're living in.
Is it usually first world countries that don't want to have kids, or even
no? It's not even that. It's that
China, you're not allowed to have more than 2.
Oh no, they changed. Oh, they changed that now. They changed that.
Oh,
China's on a.
They want 2 billion people.
China's on a whole new game plan.
What the fuck is that about?
China's on a whole new game plan. China's getting to be honest.
That was sketchy ass.
This experiment of the American experiment might just be coming to an end in the next 50 years, bro.
Oh,
that ass. Because it's like, while we're getting our military's getting softer, we're canceling people over fucking tweets they did when they were 13.
Our entertainment industry is extremely soft on China sports. Like for example,
yeah, John Cena was basically on his knees.
Oh yeah, like Disney can't do certain things if Disney doesn't like it.
Yeah,
they can't if China doesn't like it.
They can't have certain faces.
Right. Finn in Star Wars, right? Finn in Star Wars.
Yeah, what was that about?
They took his face off the fucking front cover in China.
No, it was on, but it was 10 times smaller than what it was.
And the fact that they had the Asian black girl being like a relationship, Finn and the Asian girl in the movie, they cut that shit out in the Chinese movie. Yeah, they did.
What's the big deal with that, though?
Because
that's like
Han Chinese. You want to talk about like white racism? They want to talk about racism or whatever. The Han Chinese, the people who run China, basically, they even hate certain other tribes in China.
Your fellow fucking laundromat owner. Like
you gotta get canceled for that one. You get canceled for that one.
I'm kidding. Come on.
Yeah, I know. But fuck that. We tell jokes anyway. But yeah, right. So the Han Chinese, they're probably the most racist people on earth. Like they even hate. At least the ones running the government. They even hate certain other tribes in China.
BLM should be talking about these guys.
So but they can't because
it's
BLM is
more America.
The leftist politics and like for example, you have communism, Marxism, that intertwine with with the policies. So BLM and leftist circles they champion the Soviet Union and communism and stuff like that. So it's like if you were to say fuck China because they follow like a Marxist system, then you can't say let's have a communist system because it would like. It's contradictory to that. But, The Han Chinese, that's why they don't. That's why if you speak Cantonese, that's why they don't like the Hong Kongers or Taiwan.
Okay, yeah.
Because they're different. They want to rule the world,
Right.
Kind of like some World War II Nazi shit. And Japan, in World War II, they wanted to get the whole entire Asia under. They called it the Greater Prosperity Sphere. Yeah, and they were stealing oil, everything. It was crazy. So that's why.
Like Japan wanted to take all of China.
All of China, all of fucking Asia. They call it the Greater Prosperity Sphere.
Australia's getting worse too. Not with like racism, but the whole.
Oh yeah, no, they hate Aboriginals too.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you see countries like Sweden, Canada, all these supposedly progressive countries.
They're very racist.
They're very racist in the sense of we're not gonna burn a cross on your lawn, right? But we will condescend you to like you're a child or a pet.
We won't let you assimilate into our culture.
We'll let you live in the country, but it'll be kind of like apartheid. We'll let immigrants come in the country in thousands and millions, right? But we will cordon you off by putting you in certain neighborhoods, certain
only give you a certain classification. Yeah, you can pick up our garbage.
Only gives you exactly, and it happens.
You can drive us around.
For example, China. China's also a homogeneous society, which white supremacists love for some reason because of that reason. It's crazy, right? You'll see a white supremacist do like a Chinese symbol, like they're not even white. It's crazy.
Is this?
And they'll marry Asian women.
White power symbol? Is this just the okay symbol?
Now it's kind of like
people keep saying this means white power. Like I don't understand.
Well, it was a meme on 4chan that turned.
Like it's an emoji on your phone. Like you can use it.
Sean, I'm so happy you said that.
There was a meme on 4chan that got way out of hand, and now actually they are using it as like a fuck you. It's like it's like the swastika.
That's sad.
No, but do you know
swastika is a Buddhist symbol?
All right.
No, but do you notice with that emoji?
But they ruined the swastika for Buddhists.
No, but do you notice with that emoji? That emoji, because you know how you have like they're yellow and you customize the color.
Yeah.
It's only white and you can't change the color.
Really?
Look at it. It's it's the symbol. It's only white.
Oh no, you can change it. No, you had it set to.
Fake news. I'm sorry. I'm fake news.
But that's what the point. That's why we conversate about these things. We don't shut down conversations, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
But yeah, the Buddha, Hitler and them ruined the Buddha symbol. It's swastika. It's actually a really spiritual symbol in Buddhism.
Really?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah.
The more you know.
And that's why I was so
Nazis
fucked up.
didn't invent the swastika. Same way white people didn't invent racism.
It's a Sanskrit thing. It's not even. It has nothing to do with Europeans at all. And that's what's so fucked up about it. So certain symbols now are fucking ruined because of that. Like, when they were talking about doing this, it was 4chan doing some joke. White power, WP, right?
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, that's the okay symbol. But when 4chan does stuff, they're diabolical. They could be either good, total altruistic, like getting an old man, have 100 people come to an old man's birthday party when he's alone, or freaking just be diabolical, tell people to microwave their fucking phones to charge them and shit. Yeah,
I brought this.
I actually not really a 4chaner.
Well, not anymore, right? No, I used to lurk it or whatever, but like back when the iPhone 5 came out or whatever, right? They was like, you could put your phone in the new technology from Apple. Put your phone in the microwave to charge.
That's mad funny.
There's
First of all, if you do that shit, you don't deserve a phone anyway. Like, come on. I don't care if you're 13. That's common sense.
There was this guy on YouTube. I don't know if he makes videos anymore, but he would always make a video of him just destroying phones, laptops, gaming.
Oh, you're talking about.
He's like, welcome back, guys.
Yeah, you're talking about how to basic.
Yeah. No, not
that
even
shit.
that guy. It was just some other dude. He would just have the newest thing and just destroy it, and people still do that. And it's like fuck you, bro.
A couple different.
I just saw something recently. Some guys, you know the thing that the machine that spins, it grinds. It's like a grinder.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the hydraulic
yes,
thing.
Yes.
You got the hydraulic press channels.
Yeah.
And you got the grinder
the one that spins. Someone just put a whole brand new PS5 in there. And people were so pissed because dude, it's hard to get them in the first place, and now you have some guy that does have one, and he's
it's like a money flex thing.
Someone would have loved to have had that. You know?
Give that to a little kid.
It is a money
for Christmas.
Flex. It's go fuck yourself.
Give that to a kid who wanted it for Christmas.
I brought this up, the OK symbol, whatever you want to refer to as, because Kyle Rittenhouse, there's a photo of him flashing it.
Yeah.
So now they're saying that's why he's a white supremacist. I don't know. It's a photo. Could have been edited. Could have been other stuff. Or he could have just meant, "Hey, what's up? Okay, guys, But
no, the thing
I
is,
don't know.
So the thing with that, with Kyle, whatever it is, obviously he shouldn't, because at that point he did know you know, what the implication behind it was, but it's like, you're a kid, the world's going against you, you're going to be like, fuck it, like, I'm going to be the bad boy now since you're going to play the bad boy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you got to remember, he's 17, so that's part of meme culture as well. It became a meme.
True. It actually was part of meme culture.
It was a meme culture. It's like, hey, meme culture, right? Okay. You know, and 17-year-olds are highly influential. Right? So he's not even thinking about, hey, this might fuck over my case in fucking 9 months.
Yeah.
You know, he's not thinking about that. Notice how his lawyer probably told him, don't do that shit again. That's the only picture we have of him posing with anybody. Right?
Right.
That was the only picture we know of him posing with anybody. His lawyer probably after that was like, fuck that. Because remember, he had at the beginning he had a different lawyer. He didn't have the same lawyer that closed up
Who are we talking about?
his case with Rittenhouse.
Yeah. No, but it's funny, that's what his lawyer said in an interview.
Yeah.
His lawyer said the best thing that he did was fire the first 2 lawyers.
Yeah.
And the lawyer hired his best friend.
Yeah. I'm going to trust my boy.
That's exactly what he said. He's like, it was easier for me knowing that the person I have, the other person working on the case with me, someone not only do I trust, but it's someone I know I ask.
I know was a straight shooter.
He'll get it done.
And, you know, he worked out. What happened?
You know what's crazy? There's really people that think because he got as they say, they're like, oh, he got away with this. They think it won't be long before he does something like this again. It's like, no, that's
First
not.
of all, he's
that's
more
not what's
inclined
going
to
on,
not.
bro. That's
he's
not,
more inclined to freaking run from the motherfucking
yeah,
shooting now because
he's more inclined
he's not
to
trying to go
maybe
through that
not.
again.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not trying to go through that again. But now here's the thing: if someone,
he's probably gonna get a big paycheck, because a lot of people were labeling and like the media was saying
he's gonna sue everybody. He's
and
gonna
all
sue
this other
everybody.
stuff.
I mean, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'd sue everybody. But with me, is like me as a black person, right? My community is getting so up in arms about this because I believe the media has successfully brainwashed us. You know,
like you said, divide and conquer, man. They love it.
Has successfully brainwashed to believe that he shot 3 black people. There was even an article in The Guardian, which is a UK newspaper.
Right, there was one in Germany that was saying that he killed 3
First of all, he only killed
people.
2 people. One guy lived, and then none of them were black.
Yeah.
So it's like you can see what they're doing with that whole racial conquer thing because they know what gets us angry.
There's a lot of misinformation.
Yeah, they know what gets us angry. All you gotta do is say racist, white supremacist, you know. And, 3 black dead person, especially since it was on the back of a shooting that happened in Kenosha of a black guy.
Right.
On top of a already hot ass summer with the George Floyd incident.
It was a rough year.
It was a terrible summer, and that's why it was so easy to get sunburned. You'll see it on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
The Kyle's getting off, and it's like. It's gotten to the point where they're defending a fucking pedophile. Like, I don't care how the pedophile does it. A guy could be just walking on the street. The pedophile could be walking on the street, and someone just fucking shoots him in the head randomly. Yeah. It's fucking straight up murder. I don't give a shit. The pedophile's dead.
Straight up.
Angel got his fucking wings.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be too upset about Rosenbaum being killed in any way because he was a child pedophile rapist. It's like, why are people sad about him dying? Like,
because it becomes like we was talking about tribalism. It becomes where he's a united front. Don't ever break that line. Don't hold that line of wrong and strong, but we're in public we're holding that same line.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard he had like anywhere between 10 to 11 accounts of molestation.
No, it was 11 counts.
It was 11 counts.
Wow.
And the boys.
Wow.
And the boys were 9 to 11.
Well, why was he free to begin with?
Because
I think he escaped the mental institution.
No, he just got out.
He just got out.
Which he shouldn't have. Like obviously.
Right. Clearly.
And that's a problem in America too. They closed down the mental institutions. Now, what was happening in the 80s was fucked up, and even before the lobotomies and everything. But don't close down institutions completely, because there are mentally ill people that need help, and that a lot of times they don't have anybody in their family that can help them. Usually, so they're out rounding in the streets and they end up doing bad things for them. But the thing with him is that he had, he had he raped 5 boys because he used to date single moms. Right?
Oh,
so he had access to their kids, and that's a big problem right there too within the communities of single motherhood. It's like, single moms, they want to be with somebody or whatever. They don't want to be alone, So they'll date a man, and not fully vet him for like 3 years or whatever, and he'll have access to her kid, or her kids, and then that's when a lot of molestation happens. And people don't talk about that a lot because a lot of that molestation, comes from a family member, but a lot of it comes from the new stepdad coming in and touching the kids.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. I was looking up some numbers for that. I think in about in American households in general, like in 1 in 20, it's like there's a dad touching the kids.
Yeah.
It's like 5%.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's a pretty high number, and like when it's a stepdad,
It's
like
way
it's
high.
like 1 out of 7 cases.
Which is fucking what, like 17? It's like 18% or some shit like that.
Yeah, like 18% of stepdads.
Like,
That's crazy.
It's like 18%, which is terrible.
But what do you think are like the? Because I don't know if this is something you've researched. This is something I've been researching myself a little more. What do you think are like the sexual dynamics that lead to something like that? Like, what do
Well, we know that kids get. Some people are born with that, with their wires just totally fried.
Sorry, he's flipping out. He just wants to say bye.
Bye, Jace.
Say bye, Pete.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Pete.
Oh, we were
Hey.
gonna say bye to the stream.
Hey,
right?
cute. Yeah, cute kid. But yeah, so what was I saying?
We were talking about like the sexual dynamics.
Oh, so some people are born that way, right? Their screws loose, and
Right.
the people who are born that way, more likely than not, will say, "Yeah, I need help," right? And I tell you, and you know what? These are the only ones who don't die because they actually ask for help. Because some people are genetically sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how we started talking about the sexual dynamic of
Yeah, right.
children as my nephew walked in. That's
All right.
hysterical.
Oh my god.
Protect youths like your nephew, bro.
Exactly. Innocent little boys like that, like help.
Yeah, that's
them.
why I'm not
Look out
sad
for
that
them.
Roosevelt is dead, because that means he's not going to harm
One less
another
piece
kid.
of shit in
But
the
a
world.
lot-
That's how I see it.
So,
But a lot of them have been like molested themselves, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like kind of.
but at some point, first of all, they're victim. They use that as an excuse, right? You got molested as a kid,
Yeah,
right?
so it's like, what? So you got to take it out on some
And that's
someone
the
else?
thing.
Like, I don't know.
Majority of the kids
Crazy.
who get molested, they don't end up becoming predators themselves. It's the ones,
Usually they'll become like advocates for it.
the advocates, like, I got molested, so don't do this.
Right, right.
It's only the small few that, end up becoming victims themselves,
Roosevelt.
right? So, at some point, I'm an adult, I gotta, I can't do that. It wasn't like he was like 15 or 6. He was a grown-ass man raping 9-year-old boys,
Yeah.
right? So, or was he like 21 or something like that? You're a grown-ass man, right?
Yeah.
So, at some point, you gotta realize, I'm sick, I need help or whatever, right? Even if you get that one urge, because you're sick, right? When you do that, that means you like it, you enjoy it. So that means you're choosing to be a monster, right?
Mhm.
And that's why you gotta be in control of your flesh, right? It's like, temptation is the easiest thing to
Yeah, absolutely.
to
Yeah.
fall to.
I was reading. I was actually watching.
Kingdoms have fallen due to the flesh. Not even some real shit.
Yeah, I had been watching a video from a Christian minister who was saying that he was basically just speaking out against porn in general.
Yeah, generally.
And there was a retired police officer in the comments, and he was talking about and when he was wrapping up people for child porn, and he's like, most of the time it was the same story. It's like the person was like a porn addict, and at one point like the regular porn wasn't doing it for them, so they switched. I mean, it might depend on the person.
Yeah, but that's the gate. That's the
No,
door.
but yeah.
And the thing is, when you go on Pornhub, not that I've ever been on Pornhub, but like when you go on, a lot of the things you see, it's like stepdad.
Yeah,
It's
never missionary, loving, and it's never that.
No, I agree with you on that. That in a sense is literally brainwashing, or that in a sense is brainwashing people into accepting like incest.
And what do you see on the memes on YouTube? Oh, step brother.
Has you get stuck yet? Those are mad funny though. I'm not gonna lie.
It's funny, but it's like
I understand.
A lot of
it's the
people
pathway to doing that. Yeah, some people, most people aren't going to go into the flesh that deep, but the more you do it, especially the younger you get exposed to it, the less you're going to be able to handle that to not become a complete degenerate. I mean, I'm seeing shit on freaking message boards about what's your favorite kinks, and I'm like, this is like insane. It's like, the worst thing our parents, and our parents before them, their parents before them had was like a nude mag where they just saw a naked woman. Right, which is alright, yeah, it's pornography, but it's like you can fathom it. Now they have so much extreme shit, it's not even funny. It's like, imagine freaking being like 8 years old, you got your old tab on your phone,
right,
and you're seeing like the craziest shit. Your brain is gonna be fucking warped.
Well, they're saying like things like Pornhub, the extreme levels they go, like how it's just so perfect, it's ruining like actual sex, what like sex
It
is
is,
really like for people.
It is, because now, what do you call it?
You're living up to this fantasy. You want it to be like this, and then
Yo,
it's not
why do you think
gonna
that's-
be.
why
It's
is-
also the instant gratification.
Yeah. Why do you think
Right.
they're selling dick pills to like young men?
Oh my god, yeah.
Blue Chew, take, a honey pack, the rappers are rapping about it. So I took a honey pack and fucked this for 10 hours, and I'm like, yo,
Can I honestly...
you're gonna have ED when you're 45 and you're not even supposed to, like,
Can I tell you what I honestly think one of the reasons why that happens?
What?
I think because of the fact that...
Desensitized.
Desensitized, but also I think one of the other factors is, and a lot of you have to look at it from like honestly from what I'm about to say is weird, but look at it from like a film perspective. Like when you look at movies, what do you see? It's all beautiful people. All the actors are pretty. Everyone's in good shape.
Yeah, for the most
And if
part,
you notice when you watch porn, which I've watched a lot of, guilty, charged, whatever.
Everyone has watched it.
Everyone has.
It's recognizing that, you stop doing that shit.
Yeah, and you notice
Yeah.
it's like for a lot of guys. Okay, let's
Moderation.
just say if you're a guy that has a 4-inch dick and you're very insecure about having a small sized penis.
Okay.
And then you're watching porn, like you don't get any girls, like you're very shy because you don't have a big dick, and you're worried about how you're not going to be able to satisfy them. And now the only way you can get off is watching porn, and the porn you're watching has guys that literally have like 8-inch cocks.
Which is fake, by the way.
Not all, some of these guys are like 6'5". You know what I mean? Some of them are tall. I know it doesn't matter, but
just
they're
got
gonna.
the horse fucking.
But you never really see a guy. But here's the thing. But you never really see a guy that's like, oh, sometimes you do. But you never see an average person. Well, you got amateur videos that are dope. So, but what I'm saying, like Pornhub, like the whole.
You're not helping the young youth out here.
Like the porn industry. I'm not talking about like amateurs that make their own videos or whatever, which I actually prefer more. But just like Brazers, like the very high end like videos, you know what I mean? They at the end of the day, like it's always gonna be perfect. It's like the girl with the biggest tits, biggest ass.
It's
like
all
the
fake
guy
though.
with the abs. I know, but what I'm saying is to a person,
Like a kid.
a kid or even a grown man that doesn't really get laid because he has someone who has ED or just has like problems. They're just gonna plunge to even more of a depression or even more into
And those are the ones who become the fucking predators, the child predators. Joseph Rosenbaum was 5'3", right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, the whole point is like the porn industry preys on people like that. They get there by them marketing to guys like that. The dick pills, you could be like this guy, whatever.
Yeah.
They exacerbate the problem rather than saying, hey, you're good enough. Go out and get a woman. Like, it would be one thing to say, hey, this is a loving video. This is a video of a loving sexual embrace or whatever. That'd be one thing. But in these videos, it's not about that. It's about just flesh. About treating a woman like a piece of shit. She's the pleasure point. She's not a person in that regard.
At the end of the day, we all just need to work on like our mental health and confidence.
Facts.
And I think it will just lead to like better and happier lives. So guys, I think we covered a lot today. It was a fun time.
It was
a great night. Before we go, do you guys have any last words?
Nope. I think we just about talked about everything.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
But before we leave, anything you want to say to the audience at all?
Keep your eyes open.
I know you got some, Pete.
Keep your eyes open.
If you're this is just anyone who lives in New York City or anywhere. If you're against doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. If you're against the mandates or COVID passports, please show up to protest.
Yeah, come out with us. We would love it. We would love to see you there.
Yeah, if you live in New York City or anywhere around the world,
organize your own, protest if you feel inclined to do so where you live,
Yeah, and there's people who are willing to work with you and help you even organize your own protests. Follow Instagram, New York Freedom Rallies 2. The number 2 because they banned the first account.
Literally deleted the first one. That was insane.
They did, and then once you follow that page, it's gonna highlight like the people who follow it. The girl Joe, the girl Sylvia.
Yeah.
The guy. People change. I forgot their accounts, but there's there's a bunch of great people there who've been protesting this for a year and a half, 2 years, and we have thousands of people that show up. Follow New York Freedom Rallies 2 on Instagram. You'll be updated on when protests are happening, where they are, come if you're free. Well, not even free if you're out of work or if you're afraid of the direction we're heading, not only as a country but also as a fucking species. Show up.
The world.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Actually, anything. Good night and free kind.
Bro, it's mad funny.